This is Jessica Hughes interviewing Nigel Karimfumbi on the 14th of March 2018 in his home in Birmingham. Nigel was born in Harare, Zimbabwe in 1989 and moved to Birmingham in 2005. Tell me about where you grew up.
Well, I grew up in several places. The reason I say that is because we used to move around a lot. So I was born in Harare, which is the capital city of Zimbabwe, and until I think about 4 years old. Yeah, like until 4, we moved to another, like in the highlands in the country, like the eastern part of the country, because my mom used to work for a forestry company. So that's where literally we moved to, and we stayed there pretty much until I was, let's see, how old was I? I think I was 12, no, about 10 years old. And then we moved to like deeper into the highlands to another place called Chimani. Another place like a forestry company. They had different like bases around the country, so I moved down there. So that's pretty much where I grew up, in the 3 different places.
And
Do you want me to, when you say like where did I grow up? You want to, so basically like when I grew up, like Zimbabwe had, obviously we got colonized by Britain, so we've always had like that racial, like not tension, but like there's a lot of racial stuff that used to go on. So when I was a kid, considering my mom is like mixed race, my mom's dad is white. When I was born, like I was like really dark. I'm talking about Batman dark, like literally, right? And then my mom was really really light. Like obviously she's mixed race. So my mom was like, okay, I want my kid to like, like really fit in with everybody. So she took me to like a white school, like with a lot of white kids. And I didn't quite feel at home. One, because they used to play with sand. Like literally, they just scoop sand up and down, and I'm just like, what the hell is this? You know what I'm saying? So I got not depressed, but I felt isolated, because I didn't quite fit in. Even though my mom, obviously, she thought maybe, I might fit in because I was mixed race, technically, even though I was dark as hell. So eventually she took me out and then sent me to like a local or completely black, like a preschool, primary school. And then I really fit in. Like we did things I like, cops and robbers, chasing each other around, like, and that's what people look like me. I didn't understand what was going on, but I knew there was something different. I don't know why. I felt more comfortable with people who look like me, and that's my earliest memory, I'd say, of of growing up in Harare, like up until 4, But I'll tell you one thing I liked about the white school. They always had loads of cakes, like, like seriously, like it's almost like every other day there was cakes everywhere. I was like, this is awesome, Only if they're more fun, But the cakes, I dig it. So that's that. Those are the memories for that particular place up until 4 years old.
Okay. Tell me about your family background a bit more.
You mean like my mom's side, dad's side? Oh, okay. So my mom is Ndebele. So Ndebele like is another tribe in our country. There's like 2 main tribes: the Ndebeles and the Shonas. Shona is the majority, you know. So my mom's Ndebele, but she wasn't just regular Ndebele. She was also a mixed race Ndebele. That means my mom's dad was white, and then my mom's mom, which is my grandma, was like it's black, but she wasn't just black. She was mixed race too. So, like, there was a lot of complex things, like, in that regards. You can imagine, again, my mom grew up the same way I did, but the reverse. She was, like, the only one who was, like, mixed race. Like, so imagine when she went to school, she's the only light-skinned person, like, proper light-skinned. And she used to wonder why people didn't, like her. Why didn't she not fit in? And it didn't make sense to her, because when she was growing up, all her siblings were black. And she's like, what the hell's really going on? Like, I get along with my family, but when I go to school, it doesn't make sense. So that was that. I'm not quite sure, like, whether my granddad or my mom's dad is Scottish or British, but it's one of those, my mom's never really delved into it. Neither does she want to talk about it, so that's fine. And then on my dad's side, My dad's like full black, like son of the African soil, like black. Like there's no doubting on that. If you see him, obviously. Uh, and my dad is Shona, So my dad is Shona, and the funny thing is, they kind of they went out, they started dating, but there was a language barrier. My mom's Ndebele, so that's like two different languages. So it was funny because I don't know exactly how did my dad like start learning Ndebele just to like get at my mom. I don't know what happened, but whatever he did worked, because 4 kids later, and they're all married. So they met when they were like 21, I think. Yeah, when my dad was 21. I don't know, was my dad 21? No, my dad was 24, she was 21. Yeah, and I think my sister got born. Okay, 9 months later or whatever. That's what happened. So in terms of like background, that's the kind of mix we have. We have all kinds of mixes going on. Like we got like the local obviously mix and the international mix. So it's very interesting. That's about it. Yeah.
Can you tell me more about your early childhood?
Okay, like one of my favorite memories growing up was the fact that when my when my dad went to America, like my dad was in the army, and then when he came back, he brought like all the toys, all the music, like the pop culture that was happening in the 80s, and like he brought one of my favorite toys, which was like a car, but it's one of those like a manual car where you have to like kind of pedal, and just maneuver yourself, and like it was from that point on I decided I wanted to be a bus driver. I know it's like some would say low ambition, but like I was fascinated by four wheels, you know. And one day someone stole my car. I was depressed. I don't think I got diagnosed by depression, but I was depressed because that was my favorite toy. Like everyone's the thing. Like some people like maybe they have a favorite toy like a doll or something else, but for me, that car meant everything to me. It represented who I was. A love for speed, and even though I was pedaling, like I was the only one who had that, and it made me feel special. So that was one memory. Another memory is me going to my mom's flat. So she left me with a friend, and then I think the friend wasn't paying attention to me, and they lived on the second floor. So as you can imagine, I was quite athletic. The signs were there when I was that little. My mom saw me when she was coming back from the shop. She saw me hanging from one of the stairs. Like is a patio? Yeah, but on the second floor. So I was literally hanging with one hand. It was two first, and then I saw my mom, and I was like, "Hey, mom." Like she wasn't too impressed. Obviously, she came running like on the stage. She's like, "What the hell?" Like obviously, she took me. I didn't understand the gravity of that. Like I just thought people were overreacting, but that was just me. I was just 2 years older. I thought people were just, adults were just being overly cautious. But that was one memory, I remember. It was pretty cool. Let me see any other memories that I remember that young. Let's see. Nah, no as much now. I don't remember like anything more than that.
Okay. Can you tell me about your primary school?
Primary school, I went to boarding school when I was 7 years old. Like obviously now, thinking about it, it might seem a bit harsh. Like you're just 7 and then you gotta go to boarding school. Like you gotta be independent. So, but anyway, I went to boarding school because that was kind of like the norm for in our country. It wasn't unheard of like kids going to boarding school when they're that young, because it allowed obviously the parents to be able to go to work and continue working, and maybe in some way like develop like some skills in you, like independence. Even though like I don't think a 7-year-old really needs independence, they need more family around them to kind of like guide them a little bit. But anyway, like that was the thought process behind it. Like you go there, and I remember my first day. Like you just see people from different places. Imagine like just a group of 7 year olds just dumped by their parents. No, not like literally dumped, but like it felt that way. We're just like all gathered 7 years old. We don't know what the hell's going on, but it was exciting. Like there was like a source of like freedom, source of fun. It's sort of like a groupism, and we all came from different places, different shades, and it was cool, you know. But after a while, like that first initial like excitement, it kind of wanes off. You start feeling a little bit like homesick. It was very common. I mean, we were 7 years old. It's very common to like feel homesick and yearning for your parents, for your family. But I guess you had to be a man at that age. Just get used to it because you're not going home. Like we used to be at school for I think 3 months, and yeah, like from time to time, like we got visited. Like maybe on the weekends, your mom or your dad like brings you food, and it's exciting. You know what I'm saying? Everyone, like, anytime anyone was visited, there was always like a group of kids just like looking. Oh, you got visited. Oh yeah, man, shit. Like you're gonna have more food. It's like it was just exciting. Like when someone just gets, it's like a celebrity. Basically, it's like a celebrity comes to, like, when was it Prince Harry when he came to Birmingham City? Where like everyone's like, ooh, oh, Prince Harry's here. Prince Harry's here. Like even though he's just a regular guy, like obviously. But the title and the excitement, that's exactly what happened when we were young. Like, it happened all the time as well for different people. I don't know why. Why were we excited to see someone else get visited by their parents? I don't know. I don't understand why. But like I said, those are some of the memories. And one of the things like you learn is like you just gotta get on with it. Like you learn it pretty early. You know what I'm saying? You learn about discipline. You learn that if you do something, you're gonna get in trouble, big trouble. You know, and the only thing I'd say, among other things, is when you're that young, you kind of get vulnerable. That's when you learn that other kids can be cruel. You don't understand why. Other kids can be cruel, and because you're in a boarding school setting where like you can't go to your parents and they're gonna like, oh, how was your day? Blah blah blah. Nah, you're there for 3 months. So unfortunately, because when I was young, I was a bit bigger. Like I used to get picked on. I don't know why. Maybe like I was told anyway that I intimidated the older ones, and I'm like, I'm 7 years old. How do I intimidate 12-year-olds? Like it doesn't make sense. But yeah, like unfortunately, like I did get bullied. But that was only for 7. Nah, when I was 7 years old, 8 years old. Yeah, I think after those 2 years, I think I was cool. I was one of the big boys, even though I was just, a 9. You know. But like I said, you learn about human behavior. You learn about, like I say, the kind kids. You see the different extents of people, you know. But we don't understand it. You're young. Like you see people who are like what can I say, had anger problems, who come from disjointed homes, and then you see that manifest in them. But you're a kid. You don't understand why they're taking out all this anger on you. Like, well, what did I even do? But you don't even have to do anything. So that was that. And then you just learn to deal with it. Because that's society. You just conform. You're like, I guess another day. So that was, that was that. But there was also a lot of fun. There was a lot of fun. Because we used to play a lot of games. Oh, we played a lot. That's one thing, like, notice, especially in African countries, that we make up games. Like, when I say make up games, I'm not talking about, like, golf, where, like, I gotta pay 100,000, like, just to buy in. You know what I'm saying? I'm just talking about, like, we go, like, just use whatever resources. We're very, very resourceful. We create a lot of things, entertain ourselves. We had no access to TV. We didn't watch TV. Like you guys were probably lucky you got to watch TV everything, SpongeBob, Simpsons, you got all that. Like when you're young, we didn't have that. Like we had to make up our own entertainment. And it was pretty awesome. I'll tell you the simplest one. Let's say it's raining, right? You go down a drain, like you just pick a leaf. You put it at the top of the drain. Like literally, you just watch it, and then you start doing like a commentary, like, "Oh my god, there it is! It's going! Oh shit, it's stuck! It's stuck on like one of the crevices. Oh, here we go again!" Like I'm like, what am I even doing? It's crazy, but like it was entertainment. You could spend hours just watching your lift go up and down. Take another one, do the same thing. We used to play like relays. That's why Africans are really really good at like sports, because we do this like every day. You know what I'm saying? Like we relays. Who does relays when they're not doing PE? Like the only time in England someone does relays or running for anything is when it's like PE. Back home is just natural. Like, oh, let's do something. Cool. Pick teams. Run around. We just like put some different points. We run around, and come up with a winner. And then you start obviously seeing like some people were obviously more gifted than others, but we didn't think about it that way. We just like the idea of competing. So yeah, that was that. And what else apparently? Let me see. Oh yeah, I had a funny incident. Like obviously, because I was popular, when I was growing up, as you can imagine why. Oh, I can explain. But I played like a lot of sports, and just like anywhere, any country, like people play sports, especially in primary school, high school. They're usually popular, and I was great in cricket. In fact, I was the best cricketer in my school. I actually got like a scholarship to go to a private college, but I'll tell you like a funny side story to that. So yeah, like I was pretty popular, and we went. It was like a mix, so there was like girls and boys. So like I did have a lot of girls have a crush on me, but I didn't understand like why. It was almost like embarrassing if someone says they like you. It's like, why do you like me? So I remember this one girl. She's pretty. She's just 1 year younger than me. Apparently she wrote like a love letter. Like you do write love letters to your crush. I didn't. But anyway, she did that, and then I heard about it. Then I confronted her. I was like, What did I just heard you wrote a love letter to me? What is that? Like I started like interrogating her, and she felt embarrassed, and I was mad. I'm like, why am I mad that someone likes me? Like again, like you see what I'm saying? Society just like makes you do things you don't understand. Why is it a crime to like somebody? Like just because you're young doesn't mean you can't be infatuated by somebody. But I didn't understand. But anyway, yeah. So that was that. Like obviously it didn't stop like influx of girls still liking me. They just didn't tell me about it. Else I'll go mad. Yeah, that was crazy. But anyway, like going on to the cricket, like I was saying, I was one of the best cricketers, like one of the fastest, best bowlers, in cricket. And the reason I was so good is one, obviously I liked it. Is like it's also escaping. For me, when I like something, I become obsessed with it. Like literally, when I say obsessed, I'm talking about any living, breathing moment. I'm actually just doing that. So let's say we're walking, I'll just take like a stone, pick a target, like literally just bowl out of nowhere. Like that's exactly how I operated, and no wonder I became like really good at that, as I became a good bowler. So obviously, like the more matches and games we played, my talent didn't go unnoticed. Instead of going to all these different trials, and I got picked to go to one of the trials at like a private college. So what I was saying by funny is that we had another recurring problem. Like this private college is full of white people, right? So this was in my last year. I was 12 years old. I was about to go to high school. Obviously, there were some black people, but it was like mainly for a lot of rich people. So I go there, right, and I'm bowling, and I take like 2 weeks out, and you have like an influx of white people coming to me like, oh, Jesus Christ, what is going on? I didn't understand why was I being like shy of them. I just thought I didn't relate. That's why I felt uncomfortable. But they offered me a free scholarship for high school, and that doesn't happen often. So I had the option to actually go there, but I don't know. I just felt, man, like I don't know about these white people. Like I don't know if we can get along. I didn't understand. No one explained anything to me. When you're growing up, you just observe, you notice things, but you don't understand why they're happening. Why you think that in a certain way, you know. So eventually, I didn't obviously go there. I didn't even tell my parents. When I told my parents, they're like, "So you got offered the scholarship and you didn't go there? What the hell? They're gonna pay for everything." I actually decided to go to like one of the best. It was actually the best school, but academically speaking, like it was resources wise, it wasn't quite the same as the private college, but like academically, we were the best. But the main reason I chose to go there wasn't because it was academically the best, right? It was because my friends were going there and they were black too. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm young. We never ever talked about race. We never talked about the complexities of it. Like it's almost like they left it to the adults to just do all these things. And when you're young, you're just left in this ball of confusion. Like what's going on? Why am I deciding to go to like, this this school just because they look like me? Well, to be honest, if I'd gone to that private college, my opportunities like would have been ridiculously high. It's a private college, well known, especially for sports. I would have probably played for my country at some point because I was that good. But it just didn't happen. So anyway, so that was the primary school. Uh, did I have any memories that I remember? Oh yeah, I got like one more memory again. This was, when you're growing up in our countries, like obviously, like, I don't know about here, but like we have houses, like different. You put in like, oh, House of Samson, House of Michaels, or whatever. So anyway, we were the different houses. It was like a sports day. We had to compete for our houses. So one of the guys was doing 400 meters. Like he decided, and I was like, he wasn't feeling well. So I was like, okay. And then they just picked me because I was big. They're like, can you run 400 meters? I was like, I don't know. So like they put me, like, how they put people along the grid? Like one is at the top and then like all the way up till the inner side of the round, right? At the 100-meter mark. So it felt like I was first. I was like, all right, cool, I can do this. I'd never run 400 meters in my life. You know what I'm saying? I didn't understand why I was doing this. But I was like, okay, I can do this. So the first 100 meters, I was pacing down like as if I'm Usain Bolt. I didn't know that there's like 300 more meters to run. I didn't know like there's like techniques to this. You gotta have strategy. But I was piping down, and I could see nobody. Look at my size, no one. I could see nobody. I got towards the 200 mark, then I started feeling the strain. I was like, nah, this is not going well. I started losing my breath. I couldn't breathe. I didn't understand. I was like, everything was going so well. Why am I suddenly out of breath? And literally, by the time I got to 250 meters, I was almost passing out, fainting. Everyone just went, everyone was just passing me. And I came last. But I'll tell you, the most important thing is I finished. I finished that race. Yeah. So that, like I say, memories wise, I'd say that was that. And like yeah, I played a lot of sports, like I was explaining. I played rugby. I was one of the best, rugby players, as you can see in my build. I'm a monster. Well, at least I was, until I came here, and the cheap food kind of threw me off. But anyway, yeah, like I said, I just did a lot of sports, and you learn a lot of things like like discipline and stuff and competition, but good times. Like memories wise, like for my high school, for my primary, that's about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you tell me more about your high school?
Yes, I can tell you more. High school. High school is very interesting because like we were with the differences in my primary school, we were actually in the town, in the middle of the city. Like just like Birmingham City is, Birmingham University is. But with my school, Nyanga High, we were in the middle of nowhere. We were literally on the border of another country, which is Mozambique, like in the Eastern Highlands. And man, it was so isolated. The only neighbors we had was maybe like cows, maybe like some goats and maybe some sheep if we're lucky. And you might have stray lions. I'm just kidding, stray lions. There wasn't any stray lions. No, but what I'm saying is like it was pretty isolated. We lived near farms, It was like there were farms around. High school was interesting because obviously, we're going beds. You're just sizing each other up, looking around, and like see where you fit in. And I found it a bit more easy to make friends because these are like people I came from primary school with. So I would say I had an easier integration in high school, and I knew like maybe one or two people older than me, so that means no one was gonna try and bully me, And let me see any memories. Yeah, man. Like we had an interesting way of operating. Everything was very scheduled. Like we woke up at 5:30 a.m. in the morning, right? And we had a boarding master. He was the one who woke everybody up. Like there was like a bell, like the bell, like the bell is so loud it would wake everybody in the complex. And by 5:30, everybody should be up. If you're not up, he'll walk around each and every dormitory. So in the dormitory, there were like 10 people. They live like 10 students, single beds. So he would just come and just like literally just bang on the bed if you're not up. Hey son, wake up. I was like, son, don't let me say that again. He was like a 6'4" monster with a beard. Like the only time you could see his teeth is when he smiled. Like other than that, you never saw anything. He was mysterious, and like he was very scary. Like his hand was the size of like two. Like it was like a, what can I say? It was massive, like humongous, you know. But that was that. You wake up at 5:30. You have breakfast at 6:30 a.m. You start school at 7:20 in the morning. Yeah. When the sun's rising, we're already in class. 7:20 a.m. We're doing some yeah. And down from 7:20 till about half 9, we'll do like, the morning classes and stuff. And from 9:30 till 10, that'll be tea or breakfast. We have basically for tea we'll probably have like maybe like 2 slices of bread with tea and maybe some jam, just like a little sandwich basically. Then after that, you go back to school to like we call it down school. Yeah, at about 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. till 1 o'clock, doing obviously some education. From 1 till 2, lunch. We go back to school from 2 till 3:15. We were doing some more education because we obviously needed it. From 3:15 till 4:30, this was sports time. So sports time was compulsory. Like everybody, unless you got a doctor's note saying you're asthmatic or you're sick or anything, everyone had to participate. There was no excuses. That's what I'm saying. Like that's why Africans, like, they're quite athletic, because we kind of have to do it. You know what I'm saying? Everyone has to do it. If we were like running 5 kilometers that day, we're running 5 kilometers. I don't know why they did it, but anyway, they did that. Whether it's like whether you're playing football, whether you're playing tennis, swimming pools, yeah, like you just had to participate. Then at 4:30 p.m. would go back to school. This was study time from 4:30 p.m. till 6 p.m. It was study time. From 6 p.m. till 7, that was dinner. From 7 p.m. till 8:30 p.m., that was more study time. And then at 8:30, that's when we broke off, and that was called silence time. Silence time, just as it says, you don't say anything. Pretty much. If you say anything, like the prefect will take your name down, and then you get sent for punishment. And by punishment, I mean like on Thursdays, like you used to go to the garden. It was like a jungle, and they'll be like, "All right, you can clear that bush, please." Like so. Obviously, you don't want to go to the garden because that's not good. But yeah, so from 8:30 p.m., anyone who want to do extra studies, I don't know why you just want to do that, like they could go ahead and do that. Until any time, pretty much. And then the cycle repeated. Again, we had no access. Not that we didn't have access. We had TVs, radios and stuff. But we just not allowed to do anything. No cell phones. No nothing. No entertainment. It was straight books. And just literally, yeah, just straight books and some extra activities maybe from time to time. Maybe that's why obviously we're the best academic school. But the only downside, or among many, like it was a boys' school. So as you can imagine, we did, when you're 14, 13, like you start have feelings for women. And the women were not there. We only had one female teacher. And I don't know how to describe it, but she had the biggest mammalian glands I'd ever seen. So for a 14-year-old in a boys' school, like there's not a lot of material to work with. And she wasn't that pretty, but when there's 500 boys and she's the only one, she looked like Mona Lisa out there, and we just had to do what to do. It was fun. Not thinking about it, like that was sad. They should never ever let people go to a boys' school. That's not right. You should have a normal childhood, meet other women. Like, that's why, like, when women came, and it was also the same as well when we went to girls' schools, right? Like single girls' school. Like, because we used to do that maybe whether it's like a weekend, we go there for whether it's debate, chess, some competition or anything. Like, the girls would be very overly excited just to see some testosterone. Like, it was amazing. Like, I'm talking about just like at the fence, just like gripping as if like it's like they haven't seen any kind of male species in a long time, and it was pretty intense. You have to be careful out there. it was deep. Like I said, now I would not encourage like separating girls and boys. I think you should be put in situations that you're gonna face in normal society. It only makes sense. Like, you have a bit more social upbringing, because now, like, because we're so isolated and we're only boys, when it came to talking to girls, like, it wasn't the easiest, because you didn't know exactly how to communicate with them. Like, we were quite intelligent, but like just like most geeks are not normally the best at chatting up girls. I mean, it's really well known, you know. But so some people had like variety of techniques, some which I didn't approve, but from time to time they worked. I remember this one incident. Like, this guy went to a girls' school. He didn't know how to approach this girl, so he took a stone, right? Took a stone, like a little pebble. And I was like, threw it to the girl he really wanted to talk to. I know it's pretty extreme kind of way of chatting up a girl. Then the freaking pebble here. She's like, what the hell? And she comes back and she's like screaming and stuff, right? And then the guy who actually did it, she was like, nah, don't worry, I got this. Let me talk to this guy. It's like, guys, please don't do this. This is not cool. You can't go around throwing stones. And she was like, oh man, you're so nice. She was like, yeah, I know, man. Like, these guys get wild. But guess what? It worked, He got a number, and not even no number. Basically, I got a name. The way we operated, like I said, there were no cell phones. So to communicate with girls, we actually wrote letters, just like Shakespeare, some real love letters. And like whether it's girls or boys, what you used to do is like spray some perfume, like just on the envelope, so they can smell your essence. Yeah, and then put like some stamps on there, Then you send it to the person you're kind of communicating with. Like, it was pretty formal, but in a very interesting way. And like, this was every Thursday. So every Thursday there'll be like an announcement, and then they'll be like, okay, so let's see who got some letters. And when your name got like got announced, you're like, ooh, who's sending me a letter? Got it. The first thing you do is you smell the letter, cause I'm like, oh, that smells nice. Essence is within this letter. Like, this should be good. And it was just like I say, love letters. That's pretty much how we did it. It was pretty cool. I miss those days. This day is just Snapchat and, yeah, and emojis and stuff. It's not so cool. But yeah, I remember that. That's it. Yeah, so like when we were growing up, like we used to go to like a lot of holidays, from time to time. Whether it's on the weekends or go horse riding and stuff. And I got a funny story about horse riding. It happened to me. Like, so we went to the national park, Nyanga National Park. We go there. Like, there's a lot of wild animals on that side of the country. And, we went, my mom got on the horse, and it was cool. Everyone else got on a horse, and it was calm. I got on this horse. It seemed nice, but I wasn't quite sure about it. Like, I guess you could smell the fear, So I was like, alright, cool. So, like, you pretty much do everything you're told. And we did that. So now we're riding the horse. Right? Everything's calm. Like, and then out of nowhere, my horse decides to take a detour. Like, let's say everyone's going, like, straight. It went the other right side. And I'm like, imagine like, huh, what the? I'm like, listen, I think I was 12 years old. I'm a kid, and this horse is like kidnapping me, pretty much. And I was so scared. Like I was like, why is this horse going somewhere else? And believe it or not, horses are so fast and powerful. I'm not saying believe it or not, but I'm saying when you're actually on one, like not just walking slowly, when they're really pacing, it is very, very scary. Some of the scariest. Like I would rather go on a plane, or even just to yeah, on any theme park. I'd rather go on that because I know it's safe, well, to an extent. But horses, it is scary because they're really fast. But yeah, like eventually it came to a stop. But I think when we were riding, I think I must have seen like a leopard. So you can imagine, like me riding, I'm like, like this don't look good. Like this a leopard, man. Leopards, they don't play around. They're ready to eat. I don't know if they had dinner, breakfast, or lunch. Like so, I don't know. I was just worried. But eventually, like he came back. They say he's got anger management problems, so he's in therapy. So that was that. And like I was saying, we used to go on holidays. When my dad went to America and then he came back, he brought like a lot of music that was dominant in America. So we had like a lot of country music, Michael Jackson's, uh, Rod Stewart, like all the big artists at that time. And for some reason, we used to listen to a lot of country music. Like as you can tell, the country in me has never left since then. Like literally, it was like I was born in Texas. The amount of country you listen to. I was starting to speak like a Southerner as well. I'm like, I'm in Zimbabwe. This should not be here. This is not right. But yeah, that was pretty cool. So we went to this one place. It's called Kariba. It's like a tourist attraction, tourist place, and there's a lot of cool things there. We went to the lodge, right, where people sleep and stuff. It was cool, but no one told me there were gonna be elephants roaming around. Like people don't understand. Elephants are huge, right? They're massive. So imagine like you're sleeping and the first thing you do when you walk out the door, you see an elephant outside the door. You just like, what the hell? Like I just pretended, like it was normal, but it really wasn't, man. It was nice. It was beautiful because they were just grazing, on some grass and stuff, because they're vegetarian, right? You know, it was pretty cool, but it was also not, scary. But not as scary as what almost happened to me. I was on the boat, the same trip, and there's a lot of. Do you know what a hippo is, right? Yeah, I'm just kidding. So, like, we went on this boat, and this hippo was yeah, there was like a group of hippos. And hippos are nasty because they just dump everywhere. Like they just chill with the dump. It's nasty. But I guess for them that's just home. So we're on the boat, right? And this boat didn't have like a safety handlebar, right? So it's almost like I was walking on the stairs, and to the right, that's where the hippos are, and there's like no safety, anything. Yeah, I literally slipped, and I was holding on to the edge of that boat. I was more terrified of going into hippo shit. Like I didn't like the idea, but hippos are very dangerous. One of the most dangerous animals. Like I know, like they seem nice and like got big teeth, but the one of the most dangerous animals on the planet, especially in Africa. So that was pretty scary. But it was pretty cool. Like I said, we used to do a lot of holidaying on weekends and holidays after boarding school. That's it.
So, why did you move to the UK?
Okay, so basically, my mom, she had like some kind of medical problems, and she thought like it'd be better for her to like get medical treatment here. Like it was something that she needed, consistently. So, in order to kill like two birds with one stone, she could work and also have medical attention for that particular problem that she had. She thought might as well move here. So that's the main reason. Like we moved over here, and obviously because she moved, we gotta move too.
Can you describe the experience of your journey from Zimbabwe to Birmingham?
The journey is very interesting because I didn't have a jacket on, so like no one, Like they told me it would be cold, but I didn't know like snow cold, you know. So I got here. On the journey, they served us food, and that was horrible. Like I'm African, I'm used to good food. So whatever they were serving, I don't know who the chef is, but he needs to be fired. Like, it didn't taste nice, you know, no spice, no nothing. But you know, I was like, it's cool. Like I can leave, I can survive. On the plane, you know, I watched the movie and stuff, and then I landed. It was so cold. It was so cold. Like I knew it was cold because every time I was breathing, like you know, there was just I could see steam. I don't even know. Is this steam? Cold steam? Whatever that is. Yeah, like it was pretty cold, and yeah, like it looked so different. Like it felt like it's a. You know, when you go to a place you don't even know, like it felt like that, be isolated. So I was just like looking around, I was like, you know, when you're trying to look for something familiar, someone familiar. Ah, there you go. Then I saw my mom. I was like, yeah, cool, we're ready to go. So that was that. And then on the journey to Birmingham, they had like a bottle of flavored water. So I was like, what? They got flavored water? Why is the world is this? You know what I'm saying? Like sure, like I guess we used to like, you know, syrups and you can dilute and stuff. But just to see it's water but it's flavored. I thought like there was a special tap like that had like maybe strawberry flavored water, lemon flavor. I was like, this is awesome. You know what I'm saying? I didn't obviously realize they're just additives. But yeah, that was my first experience, and yeah, especially when I landed. I was just amazed by the water, the flavor of water. Sounds very stupid, but it was amazing. Yeah.
Tell me about school in Birmingham.
Well, it was pretty interesting because when I came here, uh, they told me I had to wait a year to join them because you guys started in September, we started in January. You know, because they thought like since they said that already started the you know the what you call it the curriculum, so they didn't want me to join halfway in. But what they don't understand is in our country we're way more advanced in the sense that like we do stuff that the stuff that they were doing in year 12 I did when I was in year now when I was 15 and 16 years old, so that would be year 10 and 11. But obviously I'm from an African country, of course there's no way they can have advanced curriculum. But anyway, so eventually like I was allowed, you know, eventually like a year later I went to school. And it was interesting. My first day like was weird because I saw a group of people were like in different groups. Obviously, it's the first day. They probably knew each other from GCSEs. And I literally had to pick a group of people to hang around. I was like, I don't know anybody. I'm a stranger in a strange city like that I've never been. So I just decided to pick a group and I was just standing on the outskirts, just listening in. It was awkward because I was like, what am I even doing? But I guess I was trying to fit in. You know, so that part I remember. It was pretty awkward. But over time, like in the assembly, then I started seeing like, you know, I saw one person that I recognized. He showed me around, just showed me a few things. It was pretty cool. But the difference is like I didn't feel quite as integrated. That's one of the things I struggle with, like integrating. Like here, I really found it quite difficult because one, I couldn't catch the accent. Like they were like water. I'm like, what? Butter. I'm like, no, there's like two T's in there. Like, it's like I just couldn't catch the accent. The only way I could have conversation was through smiling with people, or yes and no. It was that bad. Like I just didn't understand what they're saying, you know. And I think at some point someone says something. Oh, are you gay? I'm like, yes. Oh, okay. Oh shit, no, of course not. I'm not. No, but like what I'm saying is like I didn't understand a single word what they were saying. It was just yes and no. That's how I operated for at least a year. Like, you know, that's how it was. So as you can imagine, like if you have a language barrier, it's gonna be like pretty hard, like, you know, to integrate and stuff. You know, so yeah, but like over time, you know, made a few friends, and it was pretty cool. Yeah, and that's all I can remember.
Are you ready?
Yeah, sure. So like when it came to perceptions, obviously, you know, because I'm African, there's a lot of negative ones. I'm yet to hear like a positive African stereotype. You know, it just doesn't happen that often. So first thing I noticed, like when I came here, like is that they thought like I had pet lions. like a giraffe, and like we live with just animals roaming around. And I'm like, oh, how do you deal with lions? I'm like, the same way everyone does, like stay the hell away from them. Yeah, but that's the perception they have, and it's so messed up. I can guarantee like 90% of Africans ain't never seen the lions. Because they live somewhere else. They don't, we just don't integrate like that. In fact, it's best we don't see lions unless it's in a protected space. I mean, it's best for everyone, because lions like to eat a lot. So that was that, like, and perception. Yeah, like, I thought everybody spoke like the queen. Like, seriously. I mean, like, imagine you have that perception and then you come to Birmingham. Like, it's a culture shock because I'm like, what? You guys speak like this? What in the world is this? You know what I'm saying? So that was quite interesting. And another one was like people like, oh, your English is really good, and I'm like, yes, the British colonized us and forced us to speak English. So yeah, our English is gonna be really good. But anyway, it's just like the way they praised me for speaking English well, as if it's like some kind of achievement. I'm like, it's just a matter of communication. You know what I'm saying? And then the funniest one, like I experienced when I did a triathlon, right? So like when you swim, run, and cycle. So I did it in Southern Caulfield, which is predominantly white. Where I trained, I was usually the only black guy there. So when I was swimming, cause like back home when I was in primary school, like I was one of the best swimmers in high school, one of the best swimmers. So swimming is normal because we had a pool. I always say like if you got access to something, you'll be good at it. So I come here, I'm swimming at the pool training, and like this white guy just came to me. He's like, "Oh, you swim really well for a big guy." I knew he's not saying big guy because there were plenty of like other people who were swimming just like me. Like I knew I was the one who do that because I was the only black guy there. I was like, "Come," I didn't say anything. I was just saying thanks. Then I went to the triathlon. Like again, I was the only black guy, and like I went to the lifeguard. Right, I asked him I had a tri-suit on, and I was like, "Is this tri-suit gonna be enough?" Because I was wondering it could be too cold. And then he was like, "Yeah, don't worry, you'll be fine." But the way he shook my hand and say, like, "Just be careful, like, good luck." Like I know you didn't do it. Like I don't. You don't have to say like the words exactly, but you know exactly what he's trying to say. I was like, hey, yo, like I can swim. Why would I join a triathlon if I couldn't freaking swim? But anyway, I ended up swimming, and I came like fourth out of 90, and that's only because I took like even a longer route. I would have been even probably fast if I really tried. I think when I was one of the first faces to come out, they're like, oh, this is an abnormality. But like, no, it's not. But my point was like, when I came here, there was a perception of black people can't swim, which is weird because from where I'm from, we don't have perceptions like that. We just swim. You know what I'm saying? It's weird. It's almost like, what can I say? Or if they're like, oh, the British can't speak English. Like we invented that. Like, that's exactly how you be thinking. Like we came up with that. So that's the same thing. Like it's weird when you come from a different country and you come here and people perceive you to be something, but you're not really. Or you like country music. Like, oh, like I thought you just like Afrobeats. I'm like, we had access to all kinds of music. You know what I'm saying? So like in terms of perceptions, I think the more like I've integrated with people, the more they realize like there's more to there's more to Africans than just like what they see on TV. In fact, nothing that we see on TV is like where I come from, or at least what I experience. You can't be like, oh, this isolated place in some small land in Africa represents the whole 52 countries. That's stupid. You know what I'm saying? But you know what? Like I said, it's a learning. I think it's a learning experience. Like, and also perceptions. Like I didn't know like Birmingham was so multicultural. Like multicultural, I'm talking about. There's a lot of different races, and I liked it because I saw more integration. You learn more different cultures. Because when you come to England, you just think white people. Never did I even imagine, oh, there's gonna be Asian people, Arab people, Chinese people. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm thinking Queen's language, and then I get to like Alan Rock. I'm like, this is absolutely not the Queen's land that I imagine. So there's so many perceptions that I had coming here that I didn't quite get, and that's one of them. Like I say, that it is quite integrated. Especially Birmingham is very, very integrated. Yeah, that's about it. Like I was performing at like one of the community places just up the road in Witten Lodge, and then an organizer of like music events called Andrew Sol. Like he saw me and then he gave me like a card and then he invited me to perform at Time to Tuesdays, which is like a music event, especially for Birmingham, specifically for Birmingham. And I was like, all right, that's pretty cool. So I went to I went there, then I performed. I didn't think I performed as well, but like everyone was cheering. Like as a musician, I know like I could perform better, but when people like clapping and trying to take my number, and it was good because at that event you get all the best like young talents, upcoming talents of Birmingham. Not anywhere else, not Manchester, not London. Sure, you might have like some guest features, but it was just mainly the Birmingham area, and it was beautiful because you see a lot of diversity. They're not just black people, just white people, Asians, everything, all the arts. It could be like spoken word, it could be poetry, it could be rap, it could be anything. And it's nice because it's not a niche, but it's somewhere like as an artsy person, creative, you can really blend in, you can form contacts. And it was from there like I formed like a common contact with one of the guys I work with, called Sam Dutch. So me and him collaborate on a lot of things. And one time we performed at SBTV. SBTV came to Birmingham. We performed there. No, he performed and I performed separately. But I decided to have a crazy idea. I was like, okay, let's just go and make people's day on the streets of Birmingham. And then I had my guitar on. We played a song that we play, "Senorita" by Justin Timberlake. So we literally stopped people in the street. I was like, "Excuse me, ma'am. Obviously, we're looking for good-looking girls. No offense to that. Like the song "Senorita," so you gotta be really good." But anyway, picked random girls. And then we like played some songs, and they loved it. And one girl was like, I've been having a bad day. I haven't spoken to my family, my friends, my boyfriend, and everyone. And you guys just performed this for me, and it just made my day. It was pretty awesome. But the most awesome thing was gonna happen next because I didn't realize it was gonna, go viral. We were in an elevator. We were about to go to my car, and then I was like, okay, let's stay in the elevator. And then we did. Then I took out my guitar and started playing a guitar. And then my friend who also decided to just sing in the elevator. And then my friend was filming. So they came, this girl, like a group of two girls, and then one guy in the back. And then I was just literally when the lift opened, I was just playing guitar. And then she was on the phone. She's like, "Oh my God, he's like the Black Ed Sheeran." It was so funny. She's like, "Oh my God, listen, can you hear in the background? He's really good." And then she's like, "Oh, you're really good." I was like, "All right, thank you." And then like I kind of signaled to my friend to like stop playing, to start singing. Then he started singing "Senorita," and she was like, and then she knew the words to "Senorita." She started singing along. She's dancing along, and then like I said, we kept it all that on TV. And then she was like so shocked on the cameraman. And then it was so shocked, like it was so amazing, but we didn't know it was gonna go viral. So we posted it on Instagram. And then one time, this was at Selfridge's elevator, by the way, in town. So we posted it on Instagram, and then I think 2 weeks later, someone like on a big page like posted our video on theirs. We started getting like loads of followers. We're just like, what's going on? And then like we figure out like actually went viral. And now up to this date, it's got like over 3 million views and over 130,000 likes on Instagram. So that was pretty cool. And that's all happened at Selfridges, Bullring, Birmingham. That was awesome.
What does it mean to be a Brummie?
Being a Birmingham means like I live in a place that's very diverse, very integrated, very culturally rich. Where like I get to meet different people of different religions, get to hear their stories, eat to the same places, and like I would say, like Birmingham is very welcoming. It's very inclusive. So it means a lot. It means a lot, like because it's so easy for people to just like not really want to engage with you. But like even just when I walk outside, you have people engaging with you, your neighbors, people who walk their dogs, and it's nice, you know. And I'm not saying it's exclusive to Birmingham, but from my experiences as a Birmingham, I'd say like it's one of the things that stand out to me, their friendliness.
How does it feel to tell your story?
It feels good, Like I feel like my story just sheds light on different aspects of me as an African. Like I say, like when you come from a different place, unless you're given an opportunity to like really tell your story, people always believe in stereotypes. You know, like, oh, you can't do this, you can't swim, you can't listen to this music. Oh, like, how do you know this? But like I always say, everyone has a story to tell, and you better be willing to listen. And it's good to have like a media that will, or people that will allow you to tell that story, which is obviously you guys. And I think I'll be very interested to see what other people's stories are. Maybe our experience is going to be the same, you know, because you might be surprised. It might be from different backgrounds, but the stories are similar. Or they might be different because it's a different person. But like it feels good to have my story being recorded, you know, and maybe it'll make someone's day, like they'll be reading it, you know, because it's always nice to hear from different people, you know.
What impact do you think telling your story will have?
Um, the impact is it'll maybe bring people closer. You know, maybe people want to make even a movie. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying like my life is movie worth it. Honestly, it is, but like it just makes people want to be more curious about what you do. Not just me, but even beyond like being in Birmingham. Maybe even go to the places that I come from. You know, like if I say talk about a place in the highlands where I go horse riding, someone might go to the archives and read them like, oh, so I can go horse riding in Zimbabwe in the highlands. Cool, let's go horse riding. You know what I'm saying? I can go see hippos. Let's go do that. And I was gonna say one thing about like my country, the people are quite friendly. I forgot to say that. So I could talk about the friendliness and say people were like, they're friendly people. Like I'm researching to go to this place. So I think it sheds more light on people. Yeah.